So my topic is engineer or doctor. Is that it? Growing up, these are the only two options I thought I had or was presented with. You can either be an engineer or if you're rubbish at math like me, end up becoming a doctor. So in class, when the teacher used to ask us, what do you want to become after growing up? You would get those usual answers like, I want to be a doctor, treat the poor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a lawyer. And maybe if you wanted to sound cool, you would say something like, I want to be a pilot. So little did I know back then that I would land up in this field. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Ahmed Ashfaq. I am known as Dr. Foodie Online. I'm a food blogger who does these Hyderabadi or Dakkani voiceovers for reviewing food. I'm also an orthodontist, which explains the doctor in the Dr. Foodie name. And yes, dentists are doctors too. I hope there's no debate or confusion there. Don't give me those lame hangover movie references. So how many of us ended up choosing courses or entering fields because our parents wanted us to? I'm sure many, right? So I'm sorry, Farhan Qureshi, that you had to end up choosing engineering over wildlife photography because your father wanted you to. Yes, I'm talking about Farhan from 3 Idiots. But we all don't have a Ranchhod Das in our lives to save us, right? Lucky him. But he did end up choosing wildlife photography, good for him. Now, can we really blame our parents for it? Not really. I mean, they would obviously want something, a safe option, a non-risky option for their child so that they could taste success and make a living out of. Now, little did I know back then that eating food, talking about it, and getting paid for it. Yeah, I would not believe you if you told me this 10 years back, but there is more scope in other fields as well than just sticking to doctor or engineer. You can literally be anything you want, maybe not just Superman, but who knows in the future even that may be possible. You can be a graphic designer, you can be an anthropologist, you can be an animator, you can be an ethical hacker, you can be a game tester, you can be an entrepreneur, and if nothing works, you can always be an influencer. You just need a phone with a good camera. But it is not an easy job. It is a grueling job. It is competitive where you constantly have to stay relative. You have to come up with innovative ideas. And most importantly, you need to have a thick skin. Trust me when I say this, nobody, I mean no one is spared in the social media world. Not even Virat Kohli. So, trollers will troll, but you just gotta stroll. Almost nobody in today's world is spared. Trollers will do their job, but you just have to focus on your work. So how do you venture out to these roads less taken? I mean, these are fields which are quite unconventional, right? So my take would be to realistically assess how good you are at what you do and maybe have a safe degree thing going on the side. And once your passion starts to generate enough money is when you can convince yourself and your parents that this is what you want to do. Then maybe you can discontinue your job or you can do both of them side by side. So I completed my graduation in dentistry. It took me a lot of time, a lot of years, hard work. I've slogged my behind to pass. Then I topped all the 4 years in my undergraduation. I stood first in state. I got first rank in my post-graduation entrance examination. I passed my post-graduation with distinction. I'm bragging a little bit, but this is just to provide you with a perspective as to why I would want to leave all of this behind. So currently I'm a practicing orthodontist. I also blog about food. So basically you can do all of it side by side. Multitasking isn't my strongest suit, but if you have the will for it, you can manage everything. It does get overwhelming at times, but yeah. So once I was done with my post-graduation, my sister was like, you eat out so often. You're literally eating out every week. So why don't you just start clicking pictures of food and upload it on Instagram? Which was called as a food blog. And at that stage, I didn't even know what a food blog was. So I started doing my research. I got all excited. Then I started taking pictures of food, which were quite noob level, I must say. But I still didn't delete those pictures. Then afterwards, the pandemic happened. That's when I decided that I would start reviewing food in a fun way. I thought pictures were boring for reviewing food. You know, they need to be dynamic. So that's when I started doing my reels in a funny way. And that's when my page started to see some real growth. Cut to now, being the most followed food blogger on Instagram, in Telangana at least right now. It's been an eventful ride. My journey has been a little weird. Reaching the first 10K milestone was so tough you would barely get about like 5 to 10 followers every day. You would lose motivation, like what am I doing here? But you are persistent, you keep at it. And one fine day, mera number bhi aa gaya. So one reel of mine went viral. So it was something about an automatic pani puri machine, which I didn't even want to post that day, but I didn't have anything to post that day. So I was like, let me just spend 15 minutes, edit the reel and post it. And then the views started spiking after 2 days. It was quite thrilling to get that feeling of seeing your views go in millions, because I was getting views in like thousands before. And then this crossed like 11 million views. And I was like, I think I can take this seriously now. So then I started becoming consistent with my content and I started pursuing more seriously. Basically, what I want to tell here is that content creation is not just, randomly taking pictures or uploading videos of you dancing or anything. It is a proper job. You have brand collaborations, you have national brands approaching you, which have certain brand guidelines which you need to follow. You need to plan out your monthly or weekly content schedule. And you also have to learn the art of editing and shooting. Yes, when you become big, you will have a whole team to do that for you. But initially, you do need to have that sense of editing pictures, of editing your videos. My biggest takes from my journey have been that you're a student for life. Always seek knowledge, always learn. Don't think you know too much ever. You're always a student for life. Now, have a backup option. I know content creation might not work for everybody. Some might be successful, some might still be struggling. So always have a backup option by your side. And then when you enter a new field, study the market. Study the people who are already established in that field, who are doing good. And most importantly, please be original. There is a swarm of reels on Instagram and shorts on YouTube, and if you're not original, you're not going to stand out. You're just going to be one among the crowd. So what makes you different? What is your USP? Think about it and be original. Copying content will only take you so far. Be the best at what you do, because mediocrity is not that exciting, it's quite boring. I would always want to be the best in whatever field I enter. And mind your own business, which I mean that focus on yourself. Don't be too involved in others' life. Focus on yourself, then is when you're going to see real growth. Basically, this is the gist of what I wanted to say. I think let's take a pledge that we won't be like Farhan's dad to our kids. I'm sure we will guide them with a fresh perspective. And to anybody who's confused out there, now is the time. Just go for it. The worst that can happen is you will fail at it. Life will still happen. So happy exploring and all the best. And like how I end my reels, okay, bye. Thank you so much.